Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Radha Gadadhar Bhagavan ki Jai. Before starting to read Lilamrita, I'll do a little bit of Kirtan. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी राधा माधव कुंज विहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गिरिधरी राधे जय राधा गिरिधरी राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय गौरा निताय निताय जय गौरा जय प्रभुपदा शिल प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा शिल गुरुदेवा. So I'll start reading Lilamrita, Srila Prabhu's Lilamrita, and then we will take up today's verse. It was stopped at here, and I'll start from here. I like that big one on the end there, said the priest, pointing in an offhand manner at the deity of Krishna. It looks like it looks a bit like General Chaudhary. The Swami's boys exchanged looks. What kind of guy are these? And went back to Swamiji for an explanation. These are caste Goswamis, Prabhupada explained. The original Goswamis, such as Jeev Goswami, who established the Radha Damodar temple, had engaged householder to worship the deities. And these caste Goswamis were descendants of those first householder pujaris. Prabhupada explained that the caste Goswamis were the proprietors of the temple and that they maintained the temple and ran the deity worship as a business to support their families. Several years ago, each of the deities now on the altar had his own temple, land, income, and priests. But for economy of Goswamis, the Goswamis had sold the property, reduced the opulence of the worship, and amalgamated the deities. There were many other interesting characters. The old widow, Sarjini, with bald head and shikha and calloused. I did not know the meaning of this word. I had to check. Calloused. That means some kind of stain on the hand when we work very hard. And calloused bare feet, who slept in a room by the gate of the temple and swept Swamiji's kitchen and washed his clothes. Pandu, Pankudas Goswami, the temple proprietor's son, who always chewed pan and went around sleepy-eyed in a silk dhoti with a red embroidered border. The dark old Babaji, who came at night, who was constantly laughing and who made sandalwood paste for Swamiji. The local herbal doctor, Vanmali Kaviraj, who presided brightly smiling from behind a desk in a tiny chamber filled with filled from ceiling to floor with little bottles, and a famous Pandit who visited Swamiji and wore a gold linked tulsi necklace and diamond rings. All of these persons were devotees resident of holy Vrindavan, but no one was like Swamiji. Kirtanand Swami, Kirtanandan Swami even became disappointed that no one else in Vrindavan was like Swamiji. In the land where everyone was an Indian and everyone was a devotee, Swamiji was still unique. No one else was so simple, so grave, so able to penetrate through felicity, so attractive to the heart, or so absolutely attached to Krishna. No one else could lead them. If Kirtananda Swami and Achyutanand were doubtful about Vrindavan, some of the residents of Vrindavan, some of the residents of Vrindavan were also doubtful of them. When a European hippie couple wandered into Vrindavan one day, Achyutanand accompanied them to some of the temples. But at the Ranganath temple, they were refused entry. Achyutanand told Prabhupada, who replied, "That is because you went with those fools." When Prabhupada walked in the street, people regularly nodded to him with respect, saying, "Dandavat Maharaj," but they were cautious about accepting his American followers as Vaishnavas. I'll end reading here. One thing which everyone must have noticed, Kirtanand Swami and Achyutanand Maharaj saying to Srila Prabhu about Srila Prabhupada that our Swamiji is unique. There is no doubt about it. Srila Prabhupada is unique. He has brought so many, he has popularized or propagated Krishna consciousness all over the world. So that's why Swamiji is Our Srila Prabhupada is unique. So I'll end reading here, and then we will take up today's verse. Okay, 1 second. Yeah. So before that, I will do a little bit glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. Oops. Yeah. यं प्रवजन्तम् अनुपेतम् अपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरह कातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया सर्वोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतिर्यं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदयंस्थोय भद्राणि विघ्नोति स्वेत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेव्या भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी यत्कीर्तनं यश्रवणं यदीक्षणं यद्वन्दनं यत्स्मरणं यदर्हणं लोकस्य सद्यो विध्नोति कल्मषं तस्मै सुभद्रशवसे नमो नमः निम्नगानां यथा गंगा देवानाम् अच्युतो यथा वैष्णवानां यथा शंभु पुराणानाम् इदं तथा सर्वशास्त्राब्धि पीयूषा सर्वैदिक सत्फला सर्व सिद्धांत रत्नाद्या सर्वलोकैक दृक्पदा सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद् भागवत प्रभु कले ध्वांतोदित आदित्य श्री कृष्ण परवर्तति परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्षाय अक्षराय थे सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्री कृष्णाय नमस्तुते मदेक बंधु मत संगिन मत गुरो मन महाधन मन निस्तारक मत भाग्य मत आनंदमस्तुते असाधु साधु तादाइन अति नीचो ताकर आना मुंचा कदाचिन माम प्रेम कंठो छुरा यस्य वैश्वीमाणायाम कृष्णे परम पुरुषे भक्ति उत्पत्ति पुंसा शोक मोह भयापहा. So we will start now reading about the today's verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Even though I have brought up this verse on the screen, but actually I will be reading from the book because my Guru Maharaj says that book is the first preference. It is only other means can be used when book is not there. So I'll be reading from the book, and dear devotees, you feel free to read from the screen. This is this verse is from Canto 5, Chapter 1, verse number 40. भूसंस्थानं कृतं येन सरिद् गिरिवनादिभिः सीमा च भूत निर्वृत्यै द्वीपे द्वीपे विभागशः भूसंस्थानं कृतं येन सरिद् गिरिवनादिभिः सीमा च भूत निर्वृत्यै द्वीपे द्वीपे विभागशः भूसंस्थानं कृतं येन सरिद् गिरिवनादिभिः सीमा च भूत निर्वृत्यै द्वीपे द्वीपे विभागशः. I'll request you devotees, whosoever wants to repeat, as is our tradition. So please recite this verse.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavad Pranam, Prabhuji.
Bhusthanam kritam yena sharid giri banadi banadivi shima cha bhuta nivrittavi deepe deepe vivagasha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Babuji, Dandavat Pranam, I am also reciting.
Dandavad Pranam, please.
Bhushansthanam kritam yena sharid giri vanadevi shimacha bhuto nivrittoi dipe dipe vibhavashaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. I am also trying.
Dandavad Pranam.
Bhushansthanam kritam jena sarid giri vanadibhi sima cha bhuto nivrittoi dipe dipe vibhagashaha. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। भू संस्थानं कृतं येन शरीरगिरि वनादिभिः सीमचाभूत निवृत्त्यै द्वीपे द्वीपे विभागशः। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, थैंक यू, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam. Word-to-word translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhu samsthanam, the situation of the earth. Kritam, done. Yen, by whom. Sarit, by rivers. Giri, by hills and mountains. Vanadibhi, by forest and so on. Seema, boundaries. Cha, also. Bhoot, of different nations. Nirvityai, to stop fighting. Dvipe, dvipe, on various islands. Vibhavisha, separately. Translation. To stop the quarreling among different peoples, Maharaja Priyavrat marked boundaries at rivers and at the edges of mountains and forests so that no one would trespass upon another's property. Purport. The example set by Maharaja Priyavrat is in marking of different states is still followed. As indicated here, different classes of men are destined to live in different areas, and therefore the boundaries of various tracts of land, which are described here as islands, should be defined by different rivers, forests, and hills. This is also mentioned in relation to Maharaja Prathu, who was born from the dead body of his father by the manipulation of great sages. Maharaja Prithu's father was very sinful, and therefore a black man called Nishad was born from his dead body. The Nishad race was the Nishad race was given a place in the forest because by nature they are thieves and dogs. As animals are given places in various forests and hills, men who are like animals are also destined to live there. One cannot be promoted to civilized life unless one comes to Krishna consciousness. For by nature, one is destined to live in a particular situation according to one's karma and association with the modes of nature. If men want to live in harmony and peace, they must take to Krishna consciousness. For they cannot achieve the highest standard while absorbed in the bodily concept of life. Maharaja Priyavrat divided the surface of the globe into different islands so that each class of men would live peacefully and not clash with the others. The modern idea of nationhood has gradually developed from the divisions made by Maharaja Priyavrat. Tantra Bhagavatam ki jai. Hukum karoti vachalam pangulangayate girim yatkirtatam vande Shri Guru Dina Bhagavatam. Now, before we look at the finer aspects of this verse, let's have a good understanding about the background in which this verse is spoken. When the descendants of uh, Utanpat Maharaj had left ruling the earth, the father of Utanpat, that is Swambhava Manu, he requested or he instructed his elder son, that is Maharaj Priyavrat, to accept the ruling of this world. And since Maharaj Priyavrat was engaged in devotional service under the guidance of his spiritual master Narad Muni, he didn't like this idea. He preferred engaging himself in devotional service rather than getting involved in a materialistic way of life. When Brahmaji heard about it, Brahmaji descended from his abode, as we can see on the screen. This is a picture from the first chapter of fifth canto, where Brahmaji is descending along with his associates. You can see here, and here is Brahmaji. And when Narad Muni and Prevrat Maharaj, here is Narad Muni, saw Brahmaji coming down, they got up and welcomed Brahmaji. Brahmaji also advised Prevrat Maharaj to accept the instruction of his father, because this is the desire of Supreme Lord. And Brahmaji reasoned out. Brahmaji said that anyone who has conquered 6 enemies, 5 working senses plus mind, he need not fear about the materialistic life. He has already regulated himself, and he can perform both the duties of a materialistic person, and he can also perform the devotional service. On this appeal and on this reasoning and Brahmaji's appeal, Maharaj Priyavrat agreed to accept the kingship of the earth, and after that Brahmaji left for his abode. And then Priyavrat Maharaj married a daughter of a Prajapati. The name of the daughter was Barishmati. From Barishmati, King Priyavrat got 10 sons and a daughter. 3 of the 10 sons, they chose to become celibates. And the 7 sons will later on rule over the 7 islands, which we will get to know very soon. And the daughter was married to the spiritual master of the demons, Shukracharya. And from them, the famous personality Devyani will be born later, and then Devyani will marry Jajati Maharaj. So in this way, the King Prevrat got involved in family affairs. King Prevrat also, from another wife, got 3 sons, whose names were Uttam, Tamas, and Raivat. And they will become later on, they will take the position of Manus. And then Priyavrat Maharaj spent 11 arbudas of time. One arbuda is consisting of 100 millions of years. And then he enjoyed family life outwardly, but inwardly he was still mentally involved in the worship of the Lord. That's how we can understand that a person who has got the taste of devotional service, it is very hard to give up that kind of taste. So once Maharaj Priyavrat followed the orbit of the sun, and on his brilliant chariot, and with the rims of the sun, he created 7 oceans like which is filled with the sweet water, honey, ghee, liquor, etc. And by creating such 7 oceans, he created 7 islands. So out of the 10 sons which I referred earlier, the 7 sons were given the sovereignty of these 7 islands. Then Maharaj Priyavrat felt bit disgust with the materialistic way of life, and he renounced everything and gave to his sons, and he again went back to the devotional service. To stop people quarreling, the boundaries of those 7 islands were created. This is today's verse. So this is as far as the context. This is the context in which today's verse is spoken. I want to touch a point which relates to the position of Manu. As I mentioned, from his another wife, Maharaj Priyavrat got 3 sons. That is, the names are Uttam, Raivat, and Tamas. They will later on become Manus. And on that point, I want to say something. We hear from authorities we read from scriptures that Supreme Lord has many incarnations. Many means these incarnations or avatars are incalculable, innumerable. Somehow, in the initial stage, when someone starts practicing devotional service, so these kind of concept bring some kind of confusion in the mind that how can there be innumerable incarnations? After all, these can be counted. But no, the scripture says there are innumerable avatars or incarnations. We'll take up a couple of verses which confirm that there are innumerable incarnations. First is from Brahma Samhita. In Brahma Samhita, it is said that Ramadi Bhutishu Kala Nimen Tishtan Nanavataram Akrod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swam Sambhavat Parma Pumanyo Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Now the words to note are Nana Avatar. Nana means various, avatars means incarnation. So Brahmaji is offering his obeisances to the Lord who has Nana Avatar. Another verse from Brahma Samhita, which again confirms Nana. Advaitam Achyutyam Anadim Anant Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedesh Durlabam Adurlabam Ad Bhakta Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. Here again, the words to note are Anant Rupam in the first line. Advaitam Achyutyam Anadim Anant Rupam. The Lord has Anant Rup, various forms, innumerable forms. We take another verse in which Gajendra says that Lord has many forms. Gajendra says, Tasmai nama parashaya brahmane nant shakte arupa yor rupaya namaschar karmane. And the words to note here, again, arupa yor rupaya. Arupa also sometimes impersonalists take it as Lord has no form. But Srila Prabhupada clarifies. Srila Prabhupada says that arupa means Lord has no material form. He has transcendental form. And then arupa yor rupaya, uru rupaya. Uru means many millions, many forms. Lord has many forms. Last word, but not the least. When Krishna and Balram were taken to Gargacharya for name-giving ceremony and also to check their astrology, the astrology, Nand Maharaj took both Lord Krishna and Lord Balram to Gargacharya. And Gargacharya ji was an astrologer as well as a priest. So Gargacharya ji spoke a verse seeing Krishna and Balram and looking at particularly at Lord Krishna. Gargacharya said, Bahuni santi namani rupani cha sutasyate gun karmanu rupani tanyaham ved no jana. Tanyaham, I know, Gargacharya is saying. Tanyaham ved means I know, no jana, but general people do not know. So what do you know? This son of your Rupani cha sutasyate, this son of yours has bahuni means many, santi, there are, namani means names, and rupani, forms. And he also has gun karmani rupani. He has wonderful qualities and pastimes, karmani and rupani. Again, he is repeating that he has many forms. Apart from the fact that Gargacharya ji is saying that he has many forms, the word to note here is santi. Srila Prabhupada has kindly translated this word as there are. Now, it's a very significant word to understand Krishna's personality or Krishna's pastime. Santi means there are. If, like, I go to an astrologer and I request him to tell me about my past, so he will say things like that. Okay, in your previous life, you were a dog, or you were a human being, or you were a cat, or whatever. But the word astrologer would use will be were. You were. He will not use you are. But in the case of Krishna, Gargacharya is saying that there are. That means Krishna, that confirms the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord, which is what is indicated in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, verse number 9. Janam karam cha me divyam, evam yo veti tatvata. Now, what is the divyata about that? The divyata about Krishna's janam? That means Krishna is performing all these acts of which are described in Srimad Bhagavatam in one or the other planet. For instance, in some planet he is taking birth, in some planet he is disappearing from that, he's leaving that planet. In some planet he is killing Putna, in some planet he is killing Saktasura, and he's in some planet he is killing Kamsa. So Krishna's pastime, Janam Karam, Chame Divyam. This is the Divyata of our dear Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Now, coming back to the topic I was wanting to talk, that there are many forms. We heard that the three sons of Maharaja Priyavrat would become Manus. Srila Prabhupada writes in verse number 28 that in one day of Brahmaji, there are 14 changes of Manus. And each Manu, I have changed the screen so that it is easier for devotees to understand what I'm trying to say. So in each day of Brahmaji, there are 14 changes of Manu. And each Manu lives 71 yugas. Each yuga is consisting of 4.32 million number of years, which can further be broken down to yuga-wise. Kali Yuga, as we know, has age of 432,000 years, Dwapar 864K, Treta 1.296K, and Satyuga 1728K number of years. So in one day of Brahmaji, there are 14 changes, as I repeatedly said. So that means in 1 month of Brahmaji, if we multiply 14 by 30, that becomes 420. And then in 1 year of Brahmaji, like 12 months, 420 into 12, 5,040 number of Manvantar avatar take place. And in 100 years of Brahmaji's life, which is one lifespan of Brahmaji, the total number of Manvantar avatar are 504,000. 5,04,000. So in the lifespan of Brahmaji, 504,000 number of Manvantar avatar take place. And then we can also remember that this number relates to one universe. There are innumerable universes, which is confirmed in many verses, and one of them is from Brahma Samhita again. Ekaupasaurachaitum jagadand kotim yachhattirasi jagadand chaya yadanta andantaras paramanu chayantarastam govindam adipurusham tam aham bhajami. Now the word to note again, jagadand kotim. Kotim means crore. Crore means 10 million. Jagadand means universes. There are millions and billions of universes. And if we calculate the number of Manvantar avatar which Lord manifests in one lifespan of Brahmaji, then we consider the the unlimited number of universes. It becomes easier to, it goes smoothly into our head. Yes, there are innumerable number of avatars. Now, additionally, we, we are we are talking at this moment only about the Manvantar avatar. But as we know, there are 6 categories of broad categories of avatar. That is like Pusha avatar, Leela avatar, Guna avatar, Shakti Vesh avatar, and so on. So there are 6 categories of avatar. So if we also take into consideration the various avatar which are manifested by Lord under these categories, then it becomes very easy to understand that yes, there is no exaggeration anywhere in scripture that there are unlimited number of avatars which cannot be counted. So that's the point I was wanting to take. So now I will refer to today's verse and then we'll have some discussion on it. Okay, in the purport, if I go back, we will see Srila Prabhupada mentioning yeah, I have highlighted that part. One cannot be promoted to civilized life excuse me. One cannot be promoted to civilized life unless one comes to Krishna consciousness. For by nature, one is destined to live in a particular situation according to one's karma and association with the modes of nature. It means the last part of the sentence says that according to one's karma and association with the modes of nature. That means we are bound by the modes of nature as well as by our own karma, and we are destined to live a particular way of life. Sometimes we get miseries, sometimes we get happiness, but we do not have independence. Let's say that someone who has not studied Bhagavad Gita or who is not familiar with the science of Krishna, he may think that, okay, I stop doing any karma so that I do not get any reaction. I don't get any reaction. I don't do any karma. I don't do any reaction. And I live a life full of bliss. But Krishna says in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Na karam nam anarambhan, neshkarmim pushochnute, nachasan sanadeva, siddhim samdigachati. Na karam nam anarambhan. You cannot you cannot be involved in non-performance of a karma or an action, and by not doing a karma, you cannot remain free from reaction. Neshkarmam pushoshnute. You cannot get freedom from reaction. And also Krishna says, Nachasan sanadeva siddhim samdi gachati. By merely renouncing activities, alone one cannot achieve perfection. That means Krishna further explains in verse number 5 of 3rd chapter. Nahi kaschit shanam api jatu tishtate karam krit karate hayavasha karma sarve prakriti jair gunai. Not even if for a moment we can remain without any action. At any time, jatu means at any time we cannot situate tishtate akaram krit. We cannot remain free from action. We cannot situate ourselves from any reaction. On the other hand, karate hayavasha karma sarve prakriti jair gunai. Helplessly, we have to perform actions under the modes of material nature we have acquired. So therefore, it is impossible that we can remain inactive. Uh, Actually, in one of the lectures, I heard Devanata Maharaj saying that our present action creates template. This is what he had used, Maharaj has used. By our present, in our present body, the kind of act we perform, that creates templates for the new body, for the next body, which may be getting in one or the other life. If we are so helplessly bound, then what do we do? Krishna further confirms that you cannot you cannot stay away from the action. On the other hand, Krishna now giving a positive advice. Niyatam kuru karam tam karo jayayo hai akarmana. Sharir yatra te na prasiddhet akarmana. Krishna says, Niyatam kuru karam tam. You you perform your prescribed duties always. Niyatam means prescribed. Kuru karam tam. You have to do. You are forced to do. Karam jayo hai karmana. It is better to perform action than to remain in a state of akarmana, not doing anything. Why? Sharir yatra chapite. Sharir yatrapi chalte. For maintenance of this body, na prasiddhyat karmana. It is not, you cannot achieve perfection. Prasiddh. Siddh means achieving perfection. Visheshen prasiddh. You cannot achieve perfection by engaging in akarmana, by not taking any action. This is a very important verse I consider. And the reason why I consider this verse very important, the words to note are Sharir Yatrapi, Sharir Yatrapi, Sharir Yatrapi. In Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, Krishna used 19 verses from 12 to 30, starting from Natvaivam Jatunasam, and at 30th verse, Dehi Nityam Avadyoyam Dehi Sarvasya Bharat. Just to explain the difference between body and soul. But the same thing Krishna has explained in this verse. Netam kuru karam tam jayo haya karmana. Sharir yatrapi. Sharir ki yatra. This life is sharir ki yatra. It's not my yatra or your yatra. It's just the body's yatra. That clearly confirms that the difference between body and soul. So sometimes due to ignorance, we think this life is all in all. But this life is just a journey, this journey of the body. We are living eternally in one body or the other body. So the basic philosophy of Krishna, which is explained in chapter 2, is summed up in these two words only, Sharir Yatrapi, Sharir ki Yatra. So now we heard that we are bound to do work because we have to maintain our body, and even not for a moment we can stay away from action. Then this is a kind of helpless situation. What do we do then? Let's say the Arjuna raised this question, even though he didn't. Then what do we do? How do we get out of it? As we know, our sweet Lord Krishna does not leave any problem unresolved. So Krishna gives a solution. Krishna says in verse number 9 of the same chapter, chapter 3, Yagnarth karmnon yatra loko yam karam bandhana tadartham karam konteya muk sangha samachar. Yagnarth karmano yatra. Yagnarth. As we know, the name of Krishna has many names, and one of them is Yagna. So Krishna is advising that for the sake of yagna, that is, for the sake of Vishnu, you perform your act. Yagnarth karmano nyatra, loko yam karam bandhana. And by doing this, then you will not be bound. Tadartham karam konteya. For his sake, perform the actions. And mukh sanga samachar. And then you will not be implicated. By doing action which are meant for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu, if you do that, then you will not be involved in any reaction. The Muksanga, this is clarified by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that this means doing action with doing any service or doing any action in relation to the service of the Supreme Lord without any expectation, like Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. So if we perform these kind of acts, then we will be free from any reactions, and then we will not have to suffer in our life. This will mitigate the difficulties. So Srila Prabhupada, in the purport of this verse, says that no act should be performed for the purpose of sense gratification. All acts should be done for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, in the service of the Supreme Lord. Now let's identify generally what kind of action we take. When we get up in the morning, first thing we do after completing our bodily acts, we take shower. When we take shower, generally we take shower to clean the body. We use water and soap and shampoo, etc. But while doing cleaning of the body, we also need to clean our mind. Our Guru Maharaj says that to clean the mind while taking shower, always chant holy name, always chant some mantra, always chant some prayer. Guru Maharaj says to the extent that the mere shower is taken with water by animals, but as a human being, when we have got this body, we should clean our mind and body together by chanting the holy name, Mahamantra, or some shloka or some prayer. So then next comes eating. After taking shower, after performing our daily puja, we need to eat some prasadam. So how do we take, what kind of prasadam we should take? Which is in the mode of goodness. That is, this kind of statement is meant for non-devotees. Devotees, of course, take prasadam only. Why a person should take prasadam in the mode of goodness is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. What is the benefit of taking prasadam made in mode of goodness? Ayu sat balarogya sukh priti vivardhana rasya siddha sthira hidda ahara satvika priya. The food which is dear to people who are in the mode of goodness is made of rasya, juicy, snigdha, fatty, sthira, enduring, and then hridaya, and appealing to the heart. In Chandogya Upanishad, it is mentioned that why the food is very important in our existence, and food prepared and eaten in mode of goodness, why it is important. It says that, and I'm just reading now, ahar shuddham sattvam shuddhi, sattvam shuddham dhruva samriti, samriti lambe sarvgrathi nam vipramoksha. By having ahar, that's food, in mode of goodness, by eating food made in mode of goodness, we get goodness, mode of goodness. And when we get, when our mode is purified, then our uh, memory is, remembrance is stabilized. And when memory is stabilized, then all our bondage is finished. Everything is liberated. So therefore, we should take prasadam in. We are, of course, prasadam is always in the made of is always in the mode of goodness. But how much prasadam we should take? That's also explained in Bhagavad Gita. युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्त चेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्त सपनाबोधस्य yoga bhakti dukha. We should, anyone who is taking regulated prasadam, that is referring to the quantity, how much we should take. Ayurveda says that we should fill our stomach with 50% food, 25% with water, and 25% we should leave for passing the air. So we can learn from this. I particularly need to learn when I see prasadam, I eat, or I overeat. So this is mainly meant for me, not for devotees who are already exercising this kind of regulation. And then next comes is like we also sleep. My Guru Maharaj says that when we go to bed, and at that time we should offer our pranam mantra to our gurus, acharyas, and we should chant Maha Mantra. Excuse me. And when we get up, the first thing we should do, we should again offer our respectful obeisances to our Guru Maharaj, Acharyas, and we should chant mantra or some other mantras also, which are related with the getting up from the bed. And that would ensure that our sleeping time is also considered as a time used for bhakti. I know most of the devotees do it, but it's just a reminder to myself. And then we have like children. When we get into Grihastha life, we get children. So it is the responsibility of all children, all parents, to tend their children towards Krishna consciousness. As Bhagavatam says, Guru na sasyat, jano swajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat, devam na tat devam na tatsyan pati cha sasyat, namo cheja samupete mrityum. A person, or rather the following, have no right to become what they are. Like a guru has no right to become a guru, or a well-wisher has no right to become a well-wisher. A father has no right to become a father. Mother has no right to become a mother. Devam, a demigod, has no right to accept a worship. And a maintainer, Patishya, Satsat, a maintainer has no right to maintain if they cannot deliver a person from the death. That means if a person cannot be brought into Krishna consciousness, then parents have no right to produce children. So that's another aspect. And last, we uh, we try to read some scriptures. In Bhagavad Gita, the word Swadhyay has come in 3 verses. So that speaks of the importance of study of scriptures. Everybody can devote some time of the day in studying the scripture. The 3 verses which talk about Svadhyaya are from chapter 4, verse number 28. Dravya yagnas tapo yagna yog yagnas thapare Svadhyaya gya yagnasya yat yasham samshitvatah. And second verse, which talks about the Svadhyaya. Svadhyaya again means only reading Vedic literature, doesn't mean reading any other thing. In 16:1, Krishna says, Abhyam Sattvam Samshuddhi Gyan Yoga Vastiti Danas Tamasya Yagnasya Swadhyaya Tap Arjvam. Again, word Swadhyaya has come. And then lastly, it is in 17th chapter, I think verse number 15, I'm not too sure. Anudek karam vakyam satyam priyam hitam chatat swadhyaya bhyasnam chaiva vangmayam tab uchyate. We should not speak anything which can agitate anyone. And in this last verse, it is said that Swadhyaya Bhasnam Chaiva. Swadhyaya Bhasnam Chaiva. Everybody should practice reading Vedic literature. And that's how Vangmayam Tamuchyate. And this is considered austerity of the speech. So we must all, this is like a reminder to myself only. This is to engage more and more in study of scriptures. For one more reason, uh, this kind of point is being talked because Chanakya Pandit says that Shaloken va tad ardhit akshren va abandhyam divsam kuryat dan adhyan karam bhi. No day should go without three things: dan, adhyan, study, and doing action in relation to service of the Lord. And in relation to adhyan, uh, Chanakya Pandit says that one should memorize one verse every day. And if one cannot remember one verse, one should remember half of that verse. And if one cannot remember even half of that verse, one should remember one syllable of that. But one must do this kind of study. And that will create a lot of benefit for us. I think I'm now near the end. This was just a summary of one we should do, and there are a lot of acts which can be dovetailed with Krishna conscious activities. So this is what I had to say, and I would give a pause to my speech here. And if I have missed on something, dear devotees, please express freely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Dandot Prabhuji.
What a wonderful description of the text and attracting the central point of this. One cannot be promoted to civilized life unless one comes to Krishna consciousness. For by nature one is destined to live in a particular situation according to one's karma and association with the modes of nature. So beautifully explained for references from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and this Chanakya Pandit instruction that all shows our life is not a life or time to pass on uselessly, to remain engaged in various activities right from the beginning of the day, from Brahma Murta till the end of the night when you go to bed. Every moment and every stages of the day is so important and should be engaged so beautifully in the service of Krishna each and every moment. Doing so, our mind can be purified time to time and every moment so that we remain engaged and our consciousness becomes focused in the service, in the remembering of Krishna in any form, as you mentioned with all various texts from Bhagavad Gita, that all indicates how important to utilize the day right from the morning to till the end of night is so important. And Srila Prabhupada has given a stress on that, and you can see from this text 40, the same thing is explaining how important the glories of Maharaja Prabhupada. You can understand how he was importantly using his days right from the morning to the end. We look two sides. One is his material side and other is spiritual side. He was so focused on the spiritual activities that nothing can go wrong, even though he was in the material platform under the instruction of his grandfather. So this is very much important for all of us to take a lesson that even though we are in this material world working day and night, but the focus should be on the spiritual level so that we remain engaged in the activities of the Lord and make our life useful for the purpose of the Lord. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for nicely summing up the whole concept we discussed today. And yes, we have always to remain engaged in the loving transcendental devotional service of Lord, so that we can achieve perfection in our life. That is going back to Godhead. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Oh, okay. Prabhu, please continue.
No. Continue, Prabhu. No problem. I
Prabhu,
just wanted to thank.
You continue, please.
No. I just thank you, Prabhu. I just wanted to thank Anadi Mohan Prabhu for so nicely presenting in a very systematic way, as even Tulsi Sevi was saying. So many points, and always Prabhuji does like that. Very scientific, very step by step, very systematic way. He has covered all the points very comprehensively. You have covered all the points, Prabhu, right from beginning of the day to the end of the day. What all activities should be done and what should not be done as well. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji, for encouraging me. Thank you very much. Our Guru Shri Papa.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for the nice class. People have already spoken about what I was about to tell, but thank you for that. And only one point I like to say on this regard, as you have very nicely summarized that the purpose of life, the purpose of human life, as it is given in, you are referred to verse 3.8, I think, where you have told Shori Yatra Picho. It is our human life is really a journey of our body, in a sense, because soul is eternal. So it is born when we are born, when the soul takes a new body, and when we leave this body, soul again, because soul is eternal. But in this life, our purpose should be to remember. It is an opportunity for us. It is a two-way situation. The Lord has given us the opportunity for us to enjoy. At the same time, it is an opportunity to go back to Godhead. So we should not forget our responsibility in this regard. If we can make our life successful only when we make the best use of it, and that is to engage everything the Lord has given us for the service of the Lord. And every moment we should remember that if we utilize it for the service of the Lord properly, only then the life is successful. And there is a verse, I think it is 2.9, I think, in Bhagavatam 2:3:13. Now I remember. Ayur horati boi pungsam uddon astam chajanasau tashaite jatskanonito uttama shloka vartaya. Means our human life, by every day the sun rises and the sun sets in, and one day of our life goes. But that is not lost for a person who has associated the Lord by his activities. So it should be our motto that we utilize all our endeavor, all our activities associated with the Lord, and make our life successful. And you have very nicely told today, from the beginning of the getting up from the bed till we go to the bed, how we can utilize it. So thank you very much for that. And that is all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your kind comments, and also quoting the verse from the second chapter. Yes, that verse you quoted was very nice, and it's enlightening. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam.
Prabhuji.
Thank you for explaining this verse in so many different angles. Regarding offering prayers in the morning and daily, I have witnessed His Holiness Mahavishnu Swami. I had a good fortune of serving him sometime in Fiji. When he gets up, he's always chanting. He's brushing, or he's having a shower, or he's shaving. He's all the time chanting so many different verses from Bhagavatam, and he's always encouraging devotees to chant and learn. So when he was at my place, we have prasadam, breakfast or lunch. We'll sit in rows, and he asked the devotees right from one end to recite one sloka. Everybody takes prasadam. So if you don't know any sloka, just recite Hare Krishna mantra. So that sort of gave us, sort of encouraged us to learn more slokas. I know I learned the Chatur Sloki from him because he was emphasizing so much. So very nice. So when you get up, when you have a shower, you can recite all these verses. As you say, we can sort of purify externally by bathing, but internally, the mind, everything will be cleansed by chanting the mantras. So thank you for being at this point. And also, I like the way you put everything in context in the beginning. Not only what happened previously by prayer of the Maharaj, but what's going to happen in the future. That sort of links today's verse to previous and what's coming up. So that was much appreciated. Thank you, Prabhu, for wonderful class. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for encouraging me, Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhu. Anybody else, or otherwise we will close today's session? Shall we close?
Yes,
Nandraj
Prabhu.
Prabhu?
Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhu. There's
Thank you
no
very much.
comments, sir. Okay. Vancha
Kalpataruvyascha
कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो एव च
पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद
वृंद
की
की जय
जय।
His
His
Grace
Grace
Anadi
अनादि
Mohan
मोहन
Prabhu
प्रभु
ki
की
की
जय।
जय
Prabhupada
प्रभुपाद
ki
की
jai.
जय।
जय
आनंदे हरि हरि बोल।
हरि हरि बोल
Glories to assemble devotees. Hare
हरे
Krishna.
कृष्णा
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for your
Thank you,
nice
Mataji.
class. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.